Hello, Miss Rochelle. We can give it just a couple minutes. We just finished up the last class. I know maybe one or two more people joining us. So. All right, Miss Rochelle, go ahead and stretch and warm up. I know Mr. Giles and Miss Sabina were already in prior class, so they're already warmed up. So go ahead and stretch and warm up, and then we're gonna start off. We'll go through a little bit of the detail of Kumgang. All right, Kumgang and Koryo today. So.
All right, you out.
He wants to do some Taekwondo.
Well, I'll keep him out there for a little while. We took all the dog gates down, so you know.
He's got free reign. He's got free reign of the house now.
It's true. It's true. He doesn't like to be in a cage, you know.
Yeah, you wouldn't like our house because that's all my children and my wife do is cage the dogs.
Well, I don't know. We had to. The corgi destroyed the kitchen floor, ate the baseboards when he was little. So we had to replace like all the flooring on the main floor. So we had the gates up for quite a while. But he's better now.
Yeah, we're not too bad. So ours haven't done any destroying of anything. It's just accidents, right?
Yes.
Yeah, the pee and the poop inside the house. That's what drives my wife crazy.
That drives everybody crazy.
So.
Oh, well. They're just pets.
They are.
They don't know.
Four-legged family friends, family members, right?
Right.
So no matter how mean you are, how much you yell at them, they still wag their tail at the end of the day, still waiting for you when you come home.
That's true. That's true. We're not mean to them, though. No. But you could be, and they would be all right with that.
Right.
They're funny. I don't know. We've got 2 guinea pigs. They don't do anything all day long except sleep. Sleep and eat. That's it.
Yeah, right.
I don't know.
They don't have like a guinea pig wheel or anything like that?
They've got a 2-story condo they live in. Yes.
One floor probably, right?
They got plenty of room. Yeah, they got plenty of room. 2 floors, ladders, stairs. Yep. Hiding places, tunnels, but they still don't do anything. They just sit there and look cute.
Got it. Hey, they're the sumo wrestlers of the rodent world, right?
There you go.
Yeah.
That's pretty much them.
Right. Yeah, certainly not a gerbil or a hamster, right? Those
they move around a lot more.
Those guys are a little bit more active.
Yeah, they're like the fin weights.
Yeah, right. The fin weights, absolutely. Yep, you got those heavyweight guinea pigs.
Yes, fin weight hamsters. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, ours are way overweight. That is sort of a problem. Addie overfeeds them. She thinks they're cute that way.
Yeah, flat and plumpy.
Plump, yes.
Yep. Got it. All right, another minute, and then we'll get started. We'll go through Kumgang first. So yeah, when I get home, I will send that video to you.
Oh, thank you.
Great instructional video.
Great, great.
Because it's basically to the standard that we're trying to teach to, that I'm trying to teach to as well. So it comes from Kukiwan.
Wow.
So,
All right.
yeah.
Cool.
So Kukiwan is the certification piece. So they're the research and development of technique, and they're the education part of World Taekwondo, and they are the certification. So they provide all the certificates, whether it's for black belt tests, master's courses, instructional courses, and things like that. They do all of that certification and the education piece. So all the training classes, how to do the kicks and the techniques and the books and all of that stuff, the Poomsaes and everything like that.
Cool. Yep.
And then, like I said, the research and development side of it as well. How are we evolving? How are we, staying up to date? So they have a new self-defense program that they're starting to roll out based off of building of techniques, kind of like how we talk about, like with the handshake. There's 4 different scenarios with that handshake that you can do. And so what they kind of done is they create a scenario and they teach little bits, and it's something that you can start with white belts, and each belt you can add a element to it to make it more advanced.
Cool.
So that's what they've been working on, and they're starting to disseminate that out gradually. So so that's what Kukiwan does. And then the WT is the sports side of it.
Mm-hmm.
That's all the Olympics thing. That's all the competition. So anything that's related to competition is known by WT, World Taekwondo.
Okay. So. Formerly known as WTF, but
correct. But they did not like that acronym. So, gee,
Language.
I wonder why.
Yep.
And then you have the Taekwondo Doan, which is the historical piece. That's the Muju. Muju in Korea has the big museum and historical stuff for Taekwondo.
Oh, cool.
So they're the historical part of the organization of Taekwondo in Korea. So there's 3 branches per se.
I see.
So
the history, the competition, and the
education. The education, the application piece. Yep.
Yeah.
Certification piece. So
what a cool job that would be to work in the Kukiwan research and development.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Right. They've they have tons of grandmasters that are working through and developing the curriculum.
Yeah.
As we speak. They introduced some of that to us in just a brief form when it went through these master courses and so forth. So, all right, Ms. Rochelle, are we ready? We all loose and warmed up? Awesome. Okay, so let's work on Kumgang real quick. All right. All right, Chumbi. All right. So that first movement, when you step forward with that left leg, all right, I was telling Mr. Giles this in the prior class, you're going to step forward into a front stance. Make sure that the left hand is on the bottom here. Okay. And as you do this, right, I'm going to lead with my left shoulder slightly in front. Okay. To kind of maximize my power, my rotation, my hip. And then as I bring the hands forward and up, I'm going to bend my elbows, right? So that my left hand stays on the outside or furthest away from me. And then from here, I'm going to pull across. Okay. So what a lot of people do is they try to wrap in and come out like this. So they treat it like it's like a back fist movement. Yeah, we don't want to do that. That's not what we want to do, Ms. Rochelle. We want to come across, right? We're pulling open. Yeah. Okay. So the key here is when we do this, right, both hands should be shoulder level. Okay, so be level with the shoulders. We also want to make sure that the hands don't come past our shoulder line. So we don't want it out like this. We don't want it wide like this. Okay. So we want it to be right in front. Okay. The other thing too is we don't want those elbows to be inward at all. Because then you see what your hands do? When you start to think about the elbows being in and tight. Okay. So we almost want to think here, right? This is where our elbows, where we just kind of bring our shoulders down, right? That's the position of our hands. That's where we want to be. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, so 1, 2. Okay.
Yep, I think I got it now.
Okay, so then from here, all right, then we're going to step forward into front stance, right? Palm heel strike. So this palm heel strike, we want about a 45-degree angle. So here, straight, 45-degree angle. And then we want the wrist bent, okay? So it's going to be like this, right? Like if you were to do a palm block or a push block straight in front, all right? So all we're going to do is basically kind of tilt it sideways, right? At about a 45-degree angle. So boom. Okay. And then 2. So aiming straight for the chin. So 1, 2. Okay. And these come up just like punches, just like if you're punching. The only thing about these is there is no wrist rotation in this. Right? Right? It just kind of comes straight. 1, 2, 3.
Okay. Are we up? The fist is at the belt?
Correct. Fisted at the belt.
It goes from fist to palm. All right.
Okay.
Yeah, no rotation. I get that.
All right. So be careful not to, it's not a bear claw. So don't curl your fingers. All right. Just basically keep the fingers together. Okay. All right. And then think here, like if you're to attack the chin. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to use this palm here to strike the chin. That's where you get that 45-degree angle here. Okay. So it's not here. That's vertical, right? That's here. And this is 90 degrees. We want to be halfway. And it should just kind of model our chin, right? Oh, here's the pose, right? Right. So 1, 2, 3. So that's how you remember that. Ah, if you were to do
video
both,
captured that. I got
right? And those are all in front stance, right? Forward stance.
Try not to be too long.
All right. So now when we go backward, okay. So now from here, when we go backward into a back stance, okay. So your front foot has to pivot just a little bit, right? Because right now, when you're in that last forward stance, right, your back foot's opened up at about a 30-degree angle. So when you move straight back, right, you're going to move the front foot so that's straight and then pivot the back foot into that back stance. Okay? Now, when you do this, right, just like we did with the inner block, we talked about the inner block. Way back and around. It's the same thing with this knife hand. So it's going to be like giving trying to do a high five to the person next to you. Air high five. All right. So 1 and then 2. Okay. So we want the palm. So if you were to fist this, it would be shoulder height, level with your shoulder. But with the fingers, obviously, it's going to be up at the chin level. So when you step back, 1 here. Okay.
All right.
So 1 and then chamber and pull. Okay. So you're doing 3 of these back, moving back, right? 3 steps back.
Yep.
Okay. So what happens is as you step back from back stance, as you step back, when you step straight back, try to hold this angle. So my back foot, as I step back, I want to try to hold that angle, and then I snap. hold that angle, snap. This is where it gets a little tricky.
That is tricky.
All right.
Because you want to do it on your heel.
You don't want to do it on your heel at all. You want to, that's
know,
why
but
it
it feels
forces
like-
you to do everything. You want to be pivoting. So if you,
Right.
if you're pivoting on the ball of your foot, it should be fairly easy. If you're doing heel turns, if you're pivoting on your heel, then it makes that movement's very difficult. Those movements are very difficult.
True.
Okay. And what that does is when we do these snaps here, right, it gets our hip turning with the block. So we're not relying strictly on this movement to make the block strong. It's also the hip. Boom. Boom. Here. Okay.
Okay.
All right. This is hard, right? This is very difficult. And Sabina, you need to learn how to do this because you compete.
That's cool.
All right.
All right.
Okay.
You were just kind of rotating the heel from that outward
Correct.
position back.
Yeah.
Yep.
So basically you hold that position as long as you can, and then you snap turn into it. What happens a lot of times, though, if you're a really hard snapper, right, then you over rotate, and now your back stance looks like this, where that front foot's angled. So you have to be able to control how much snap.
That's gonna be tricky.
Yeah, it gets a little tricky. Miss Virginia, what are you doing? Oh my goodness.
What?
Let's go. Work on cardio. Work on cardio.
Oh.
All right.
So
I'm just helping the second degrees out right now, so I'll help you out in just a second. Okay. So what happens is that you go forward, right, into those front stances, and then you step back into back stances. So what should happen is that wherever you start, if you marked a spot on the floor, right, where you started, when you come back on that third block here, getting ready to do this, right, getting ready to do this, right, you should be in front of the line that you started on.
there.
About 1 foot to 1.5 feet in front. Okay?
Yep.
So.
Yep. Now.
All right. So secondaries, go ahead and work on that little bit for just a moment. All right. All right. Miss Virginia, let me see Taeguk number 2, Taeguk Keumgang.
You know what? I'm moving my.
Good. Shut.
That's weird. Yep. Next.
Photo.
Hey, that works.
What did we say about the inner block, Miss Virginia?
So from here.
All right. Because you did not do that. You didn't do that in the Poomsae. Okay. Think about that, right? You have lots of inner blocks. Okay. So, all right, keep working up. Let's do Samjang next and keep working up and practice that. Now, Samjang, right? Samjang has the knife hand, right? So the knife hand is close though. Key. Start the key. Key, and then chop. So it comes around just a little bit. Two. Okay? So you got to start that by the ear. Key. Start it by your ear, almost touching your ear. 2. Okay? Because this is a strike, not a block. Strike. So it's close. Block is big. 크게. Okay? So right? You do the knife hands coming forward, and then you also do inner block. Inner block is big. 크게. 1, 2. Okay? Remember that. Think about that. Okay? Okay, good. Not bad, Ms. Verschally. Good. Okay, second degrees. Are we okay with that first part so far?
Yes.
Okay. So now from here, when we go into the Hakadesogi or your crane stance, okay? You want to do it in a manner where you can do the pivot and the lift at the same time without losing your balance. Okay. Now, what we're trying to do here is think about if both feet are on the ground here, you're trying to kind of push the knees together. Okay. Right. So when the leg is up here, we're trying to do the same thing. We don't want the knee to kind of flare out. We want the knees to be together. The problem here is because of the fact that one knee is in front of the other, right? Now you pull too much and it looks like you're doing the pee-pee dance. All right? Okay? So it looks like this, right? And you're wiggling and, shimmying and all that, right?
Not good.
So it's very important from here, right? You work on this part here, one, and being able to hold that position. Okay. So it's only a 90-degree pivot, right? From here to here, it's a 90-degree pivot as you lift. So your back stance, pivot, and hold. Okay.
Okay. I get that.
Now, the knee. How high should this knee be? Right? This knee should be as high enough so that it is parallel with the ground. The knee to the hip, that part is parallel with the ground.
Ooh.
So it's up pretty high.
It's pretty high.
It is high, right? It's up here, right? It's up here, right? Instead of here. You can kind of see my little gold emblem here. So, right, it's not here. It's actually up here. All right. So you can't see my gold emblem. You can see it now, but you can't see it here. That's about how high I want it to be, which makes it hard. Okay. That's the first part of this. The second part of this is the fact that you're in back stance right here. When you pivot here, the tendency is to straighten out the leg. We do not want to do that. Okay. You want to keep that knee bent. Keep that bend as you lift. So this makes it even harder. So you can notice here, right? The leg that I'm standing on is bent. It's not straight.
Right.
It's bent. Okay. Your legs get tired much easier when we do it this way.
That is
okay.
True. It's very well for
all right.
That pivot's tricky.
It is. It takes it's there's 3 of these pivots that are the hardest.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because you got 2 on the edges here and then 1 here as you start the crane. So you go up and you hold that position here, right? Make sure that the leg that's up, the foot is in the neutral position. So you're not lifting your toes, you're not pointing your toes down or pointing your toes like you're trying to do a roundhouse kick, right? It's just basically, as I lift, it's just kind of hanging there. So the toes are going to be a little bit forward. They're not going to be completely down. They won't be completely up. Just kind of natural hang. Okay. So what should happen is that the arch of your foot should be right up next to the curvature of your knee. Okay. So you have a little curvature of your knee on the inside of the knee.
That is tricky.
Right? That's where we want to kind of set the arch of our foot. That's your placeholder. Okay.
Because the lower you sink, the flatter your leg gets.
It does.
Yeah. And it hurts more.
It does. It once again, it keeps all of your muscles engaged here.
Yep.
So you fatigue quicker.
Yeah.
You fatigue quicker. All right. Because from here, we have to stay still for 8 seconds while we do a low block and a high block at the same time called the Kumgang Block. This is called a Kumgang Block.
Oh.
Okay. So when we do our Kumgang Block, right, you have pinky. Normally we do pinky thumb with everything we do, right? But because of the fact that this is a dual-handed block, we're doing pinky, pinky. Okay, pinky up top, pinky at the belt. Because the belt does the high block, comes straight up, right? So we want rotation in that. The top hand comes down, doing your low block. Okay. So as we do these together, right, it should take us about 8 seconds. So what happens here is for the first 4 seconds, right, we're making that movement. And they should be basically just past one another when we start the next 4 seconds, right, 5 to 8. And at that point there, we should be rotating our wrists. Both wrists should start rotating as well as our head. 2,
Okay.
3, 4. Okay. So basically what happens is that this rotation, and this rotation all occur at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So for the first 4 counts, you're looking straight ahead as you're up. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then for 5, 6, 7, 8, you start to turn to your left as you rotate the wrist and both wrists. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you finish. Okay. So what happens here is this low block to the side, because normally we're used to doing low block to the front.
Yeah.
This is to the side. Okay. So this is just like in Taekwondo, Yukjang, right? Where we do this double down block movement to the side. That's what this low block is. So if you were to put your thumb at your hip bone and you span out your hand like this, so the hip bone is here, my down block or my low block should be where the pinky is. Okay? That's how far apart it should be, one hand span. So that's where we want that low block. So we don't want that low block here. We don't want it out here. We want it about a hand span away from our hip bone.
Okay.
So from a side view, when I'm here, this is what it should look like. Right? Once again, right? Your unicorn, 4-horn unicorn. Right? For your high block. Once again, a hand span. So your thumb is placed in the middle of your forehead.
Yeah.
Right? And then your pinky, where that pinky is opened, right? That's where my high block should be. That's how far out. So from a side view, when you're doing this, this is what it should look like when you finish here.
Get that.
Okay. Now, this is very important too, right? We work on this exercise here where we turn our head side to side, right? For a lot of us, it's difficult to turn all the way here, right? Without doing this. Okay. So what I tend to see a lot of people do is this. So you see this? What's wrong with this?
Too much shoulder.
Huh?
Too much shoulder.
Too much shoulder, right? So because I'm trying to compensate for my inability to turn my head like an owl all the way to the side, right? What I do here is I turn my head as far as I can, which causes my shoulder to open up. You see?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So what we want is this here. So from a side view, right?
Mm-hmm.
We should only be able to see this front shoulder.
Get that.
Instead of this. So that's why we work on this head turn side to side, right? Because a lot of times, I'm sure you don't stretch it out. You're just going side to side. You're just kind of rocking it back and forth where it's comfortable, right? We're not trying to go here and go here because it hurts. It's
Yeah.
a little tight. All right. So that's why we do that. So that's one of the important reasons, you know, it helps us with our side kicks. Because that's the other thing, right? When you do side kicks, if you can't turn your head this way, then what happens? You do this. And so now your side kick looks like this. Hip is sticking out. It's out of place. Okay. All right. Okay, second degree. So go ahead and work on that part there. So up to here. Right. Oh, I'm sorry. So then when we land, right, we're going to chamber. We're going to basically bring the right hand up to here. Right. And then our left hand or our right hand, or we're going to bring our left hand up to here, our right hand down to here when we land into a horse riding stance, and boom. So this occurs at the same time. So as soon as it touches the ground, pop. So we punch to the body line, okay? We don't punch past the body line. We punch to the body line, right, at about chest level. So it should be like kind of where your armpit is. That's the level of our punch. Now the space here, okay? It should not be too close to your body. It should not be touching your body at all, right? It should be a 90-degree angle.
Fair enough.
Okay? So you're going to pull. You're going to pull from one side and out. So when you land, boom. Okay? And then what happens once you're here, right? As you get ready to move your right leg and make that turn, you're going to bring your left hand up. One, to wind up. And then as you spin and land two. Okay? Now, when you make that spin, right, you should be 1 foot length across. A jumbi stance, right? A parallel stance length. So this is where I started my first horse riding stance. When I make my spin, this is where the other horse riding stance should be.
Mm-hmm. In between, on either side of.
So we don't want it to be, you're not trying to travel distance, right? You're trying to be like an ice skater doing a spin. The tighter that spin, the faster you're going to accelerate, right? So the bigger the movement is, the slower it is, and the more chance you're going to over rotate and be sloppy. If you keep it tight, 1, 2, right? It's a lot quicker and more compact. Okay?
Makes sense.
All right. So second degree is go ahead and keep working on that.
Thank you, sir.
That's better, Virginia. Good.
We're here. Oh my God, I just stepped in snow.
No, Virginia. We talked about this, right? So go ahead, go back here. So you step. When you kick, you pull. Pull to here. Make sure right hand comes to belt like a punch. So 1. Other hand comes on top. Okay? It should look like this. This hand is on the belt. This hand is on top. 1. So watch. So I step 1, and then when I kick, I pull.
Just killing me.
1. Okay? So you have to practice kicking and pulling same time. So from here, you see? Yes, same time. And then after you kick, then you have to get your hands up and 2. Big here, see? All right. You know how to dab, right? You know how to dab? All right. Okay. All right. It's just an angle here. We want this though. You the kid. Okay. Not like this. All right. Elbow up. 1, and then 2. Straight, 1. Straight, 1. Okay. Don't pull before you kick. You have to pull at the same time you kick.
Better.
Okay.
Gus? Jeez. I just want to
Ms. Rochelle, any questions so far? Okay. Ms. Sabina, any questions so far? Okay. We just have one more segment that I'm going to talk about, and then the rest of it is all the same. All right? So.
Okay. Not bad. Close.
That's pretty good, Mr. Giles. Yeah, if you can get to that, that's fine. That's a good level or good distance.
I got my socks on the floor.
Yeah. No problem.
My dog doesn't take him. Gus, leave it.
Like that's
You're no
toys for
fun.
me.
I'm gonna kick
Two
you out of
toys for
class,
me.
Gus.
Now, the other thing to increase power and speed, we kind of talked about like with that back stance, as you step back, trying to hold that position and then snapping at the last second. It's the same thing here, right? If you can hold this position as the hip is coming around, you get a little whip action, right? But it's hard because the tendency is to move the left leg first and then move your right and bring it around. Okay. So the thing is to keep the left leg straight or keep the left foot stable as you start the right foot around, right? And then release. That'll help you with acceleration and gives you a little whip. It's hard. The next time you guys are in class, right? Well, I'll have Natalie demonstrate. It's kind of hard because she spends
Where is she now?
here on Zoom. It's not going to pick it up. You're going to have a hard time. You're going to be like, huh? What?
The details, yeah.
Yeah. So.
I get that. Okay.
All right. All right. So real quick, second degrees. So after this turn, right? So we did up, 1, spin, turn, right? We're getting ready to do our first key up, right? That stomp motion. So you're going to get ready to bring the right foot up, right? So we're doing a waving kick motion, right? So you're going to come up and then down. Oh. Think of it kind of like, right? You guys know a hacky sack, right? That little ball you kind of kick, right? Kick, just kind of keep the ball up in there. You kick like that. It's the waving kick is that same kind of motion. You kind of come up and then you stomp down. And the reason why you bring that leg up is so that you can get a larger movement for the stomp.
I didn't get that.
Okay? So that the stomp is louder, right? Because if you just step here, right, you get a slap sound, right? But if you come up and then down, you get a larger motion, right? A larger sound. The higher it is and comes down, the larger the sound. But you have to make sure that you're pushing down with your heel, not your toes. Okay. Now, I don't encourage you to do this at home because you don't have a lot of cushion on your basement floors. All right. So just motion, right? One, and then just place down. Okay. When you do that, okay, this is the chamber position for that mountain block, the santomaki. Santomaki, right? So, right, like our inner block, right? Back, and then the chamber for that turning punch here. One, and then, so this comes around, right, and twists while this hand comes across. Okay? So now what happens is when I do that, okay, when I make my stomp, one, I'm here. Okay? So we want our fists to be eye level. Okay? We want the angle between the elbow and the shoulders, right, to be 90 degrees. Okay? Now, if I'm looking at it from the side, if I'm looking at you from the side, I should only be able to see the front hand. Well, the hand that's closest to me. You see? We don't want to be like this, right? Or like this, back. Okay? So it's got to be a straight line.
Got it.
Now, you can do it like this where the elbows are level with your shoulders. That's okay, too. You can do that. There's nothing wrong with that. Right? They prefer this, though, this motion here, where the hands are at eye level. Okay?
Down with that.
All right. Okay. Now, once you get to this mountain block position, when you step forward and around, right, for the, right, just like we did coming forward, that twin circular movement, right? You want to do it the same way that you did your first movement when you stepped, right? 1, 2. Just make sure whichever leg is moving, that hand is on the bottom. So if it's my right leg that's moving, my right hand will be on the bottom. If my left leg is moving, my left hand will be on the bottom. Then I pull across. Okay. Good. And then that's in a horse riding stance. So you pull into the horse riding stance here. Then you're going to bring that left foot back in, right? Keep that left hand on the outside. And then just like we did in Keumgang, right? Straighten out the elbows and bring the hands down and let them cross. So the right hand comes on top as you're rotating the wrists. So the right hand comes on top. Yep. And then you pull apart and then you bring it around. So it should be like this. All right. Sideways. Okay. And then that left foot will step around again, right? 1, stomp with the waving kick. There you go. Okay. And then plant that left foot. This is that hard one again, right? That pivot. So you have to be able to pivot and lift up and do all that without falling and losing your balance for 8 seconds. 8 seconds, not 1, 2, 3, 4, not a count of 8. Just 8. We want 8 seconds. 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000. That's what we want.
That's like double what I usually count.
Right? Yeah, it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Yeah, that's right.
All
You said
right.
8 count. No, 8 seconds. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Now, everything that we just talked about here translates to the other side, right? It's the concept is all the same. It's just, once again, there's so much detail in this. And I just spent an entire class just explaining Kumgang, just one half of Kumgang, right? Which you can translate to the other side, but no kicks in this one, right? There's really no kicks. It's all balance. It's all balance and detail. So a little difficult in trying to master this one, right? This is probably one of the hardest Poomsaes to really truly master. All right. So
Sir, I've seen Natalie stand on that ball, on the
yes.
Poomsae ball.
Uh-huh.
Is there something, I guess just standing on one foot is probably, just doing it is probably the best.
That,
Right.
and then, you know,
Right.
if you need to build leg strength, then you get on a
Right.
Bosu.
Yes.
Because a Bosu you know, forces you to fight, right? So as you're fighting and you keep that knee flexed, right, you're engaging all those muscles and you're strengthening those muscles. Because the Bosu is gonna loosen up your ankle, right? Get your ankle wobbly on the Bosu, depending on which side you're using, right? You'll see Natalie, she uses the flat side where she's got the soft side on the bottom, which is even harder than having the flat part on the bottom and just standing on the soft side. Right? You have to have a tremendous amount of balance if you're using the Bosu the opposite way. Because normally you can put it flat on the ground, the flat part on the ground, and it's not going to move. And then you just kind of work on your balance on the soft side. That's first phase. And when that gets easy, then you flip it over and you got to work on the other side. That's a lot harder. But what it does is it strengthens all of your core as well as your leg muscles.
That's good.
All right, good. Any other questions?
Yes, sir. Could you please do the waving kick again? It feels more like a dance movement than a technical thing.
So you're kind of coming up. Think about like when we do the sweep, right? When we do those sweeps, right? When we do our takedowns, it's the same kind of motion. One, and then all I'm doing is I'm getting ready to stomp. So I do this kick, and then I just basically tilting. So from a side view, I'm up. I'm just tilting so that I can get a good stomp.
I see that.
Yes. Okay. But the motion is this, right? Right? It's like we're doing a takedown, right? Yeah, the problem is just be careful. You're not pulling all the way across. You don't want to pull all the way across to here and then try to come down. Okay, so you're here, right? You're getting ready to do your stomp. So I'm here. When I come forward, 1, 2. So you see how I didn't pull all the way to here. Okay, when I turn, I pulled to here to where my leg is, and then I come down. Okay, don't pull to here. Okay, don't pull to here. Just pull up to the leg and then down. 1, 2. Okay. Okay. Yeah, the key is you just want to make sure that as you're lifting the heel, the knee's coming up too. Okay? We don't want the knee to stay, right? Then you're just doing this. Okay? You want to kind of lift and then down. So I'm lifting the heel, I'm lifting my knee. 1 and then 2.
Got the curbs.
Yeah, you're doing this, Mr. Shelley, right? You're going here, and then you pull up, and then it comes way out here like this. So you want to make sure you come up and then straight down. Okay.
I guess.
You doing something?
Yeah. Why?
All right.
I can hear you.
All right. Any other questions? All right. Well, that's good for tonight. Great job, everyone. Let's finish up. Face flags and Chereot Keumgang. And face me, Chereot and Keumgang. Have a great evening. Stay warm and safe. All right. We'll see you tomorrow sometime.
감사합니다.
Come on out. Take care, you guys. Good job.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. All right. She gets all up in her face.